soft-spoken giant Tyler Perry stole the 25th BET Awards show in a way nobody saw coming. With a calm, almost casual tone, he stepped up, held the mic, and delivered lines that sliced through Meghan's carefully polished image like a hot knife through butter. In that instant, the room went silent, and yet, as shocking as it felt, it was merely the tip of the iceberg. Back in early 2020, when Meghan and Prince Harry announced their departure from the royal family, the world watched the unfolding drama with bated breath.
Before we even get to the main event.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile.
It was Tyler Perry who quietly opened the doors of his $18 million Beverly Hills mansion, covered their security detail, and paid their bills, offering what looked like the softest of landings in America. No headlines declared it a grand gesture. It was a friend extending help in a moment of uncertainty and scrutiny. That setup felt almost storybook perfect, until whispers began to swirl. Rumors suggest that behind the scene, a different tension was brewing. Favors granted without any plan for repayment, conversations that pivoted from gratitude to entitlement. From the outside, Perry's generosity looked boundless. From the inside, some began to wonder, were those doors really open without any strings attached? Yet behind closed doors, a different story was unfolding. Everything unraveled over a simple favor, a private jet flight. Meghan allegedly requested the jet with zero discussion of cost or logistics, expecting Perry to say yes. When he politely declined, citing scheduling conflicts, not money, the room fell silent. That calm refusal hit like a blow. Insiders say this wasn't an isolated request, but the culmination of a pattern. From impromptu media pitch rides to last-minute stays at his mansion, Perry's generosity met only growing silence as Meghan and Harry's deals flourished. Staffers began murmuring that the relationship felt less like friendship and more like an extraction of favors.
Old revelations with a new twist. As it turns out, we've apparently been wrong all along. Britain is a nasty, racist hellhole where only magnificent Meghan stood up to all this. And
that one no crystallized Perry's frustration. He realized his help had become a one-way street, blessings borrowed without any intention of repayment. For someone who valued loyalty above all, this sting of entitlement cut far deeper than any public slight ever could. And according to insiders, that was just the beginning.
There's a real delight in being able to be a present parent, and it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work, we all have a lot of stuff to do, but when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
In the months that followed, murmurs around Perry's Beverly Hills compound grew louder. She treats favors like social currency, a longtime assistant confided. You give, and then you're cut off the moment you stop serving her agenda. It started innocently enough. Last-minute requests to host strategy meetings in his guest wing. A surprise ask to fund a small podcast launch. Even impromptu wardrobe suites during award season. Each time, Perry said yes, covering bills, organizing logistics, and pulling strings where he could. But with every new Netflix check and Spotify deal that landed in Meghan and Harry's account, the thank you notes dwindled. Staff began comparing calendars. Days when Perry personally stepped in contrasted sharply with days when Meghan's team went radio silent. There were nights when Tyler would personally underwrite security at a charity gala, one event planner recounted, and the next morning he wouldn't even get an email of appreciation. Behind the scenes, colleagues cautioned him. Generosity is a gift, but it isn't an ATM, one studio executive warned. Yet Perry hesitated to confront the growing imbalance. Loyalty and discretion were his trademarks after all. He told himself the friendship would naturally recalibrate once the dust settled. Instead, what he saw was favor fatigue. The more he gave, the more the requests piled up until help became expected rather than appreciated. Even whispers about Meghan leveraging his name began to surface. Rumors suggest she mentioned Perry as a silent backer when pitching to funding circles in early 2024, without his permission. When word got back, aides say Perry felt blindsided and betrayed, as though his kindness had been weaponized for credibility. No one expected Tyler Perry to take the stage for anything more than another award presentation. Yet, the moment he stepped up to the mic, there wasn't a flicker of indignation or showmanship, just a calm authority that spoke volumes. Some folks borrow blessings like they're owed, but never return the favor, he began. voice unwavering. He never uttered Meghan's name, but anyone tracking their shared history recognized the target immediately. There was no dramatic music or flashing graphics, just Perry's measured delivery, each word chosen for maximum precision. Insiders say his team advised against making any public statement, warning it could backfire. But Perry pressed on, knowing the cost of silence had become too steep. "It's easy to take when the spotlight's on you," he continued. "But when that light dims, who sticks around?" The line hung in the air, sending ripples through the crowd and across social media within seconds. This wasn't tabloid sensationalism. It was a surgical strike aimed at the narrative itself. Where gossip columns rely on hyperbole, Perry's criticism landed with the weight of lived experience. By omitting melodrama, he forced listeners to fill in the blanks, an unspoken indictment far more potent than any overt accusation. Commentators later described it as a quiet avalanche, toppling decades of carefully crafted image without raising his voice. And what followed was a chain reaction that would reshape Meghan Markle's place in Hollywood, one silent phone call at a time. The morning after Perry's speech, the tremors were impossible to ignore. By sunrise, Hollywood's power brokers were already on damage control calls. One high-profile producer tied to Meghan and Harry's upcoming Netflix documentary quietly pulled out of the project less than 8 hours after the BET Awards aired, citing fear of irreversible brand damage. Within the same day, a venture capital backer who'd sat through 2 intensive planning meetings reportedly told his team, "I don't want to be involved in something this toxic." Suddenly, the royal couple, once the hottest property in streaming, looked more like a walking liability than a drawing card. Word spread quickly that even allies were rethinking their positions. An entertainment lawyer close to the Sussex camp admitted, on condition of anonymity, that calls were coming in from network executives asking to pause all negotiations until the controversy died down. Meanwhile, talent agencies began quietly discouraging clients from associating themselves with Archewell projects, concerned that proximity might be more dangerous than a scandal. Even major media outlets that had been friendly toward Meghan started passing on follow-up stories. One senior editor at a well-known entertainment magazine told colleagues, "When every angle feels like spin, we just can't run it." Social media chatter mirrored the institutional cold shoulder, with hashtags that had once celebrated #Sussex Squad, now flooded with skeptical comments and meme parodies. By the end of the day, the verdict was clear. What began as an offhand line on live television had ignited a full-blown retreat. Deals were paused, deals were dropped, and Archewell's once powerful PR arsenal found itself on the defensive, struggling to contain a fallout that seemed to intensify with each new headline. Archewell's crisis team immediately fired off carefully worded emails to top outlets, labeling Perry's comments misguided and taken out of context, while highlighting Meghan's charity work and commitment to uplifting voices. But credibility is hard to reclaim once it's fractured. Veteran reporters noted, "When you see teams scrambling this fast, it smells like a cover-up." And the flurry of press releases only underscored the panic. They even offered influencers exclusive behind-the-scenes footage and early project access. Yet social media mocked the spin cycle with memes of PR staff chasing their own tails. Most striking was Oprah's circle. Once seen as Meghan's closest allies, they stayed silent. No defenses, no solidarity, just an empty void that spoke louder than any statement. In the end, every attempt at damage control backfired. The harder Archewell pushed its narrative, the more Perry's quiet truth resonated, proving that no amount of spin can outpace a well-aimed reckoning. Outside the boardrooms, public opinion shifted fast. A recent poll shows U.S. support for the Sussexes plummeted by more than 30% in the last year alone. In the UK, they were already a lightning rod for criticism. Now that scrutiny had gone global. Social media sentiment, once split, tilted toward skepticism. Hashtags that once cheered Sussex Squad morphed into memes about entitlement and spin. Rumors suggest studio execs now treat Meghan's name like a red flag, whispering about difficult clients and perfectionist demands. Sponsors backed away, collaborators ghosted, projects were paused, budgets reevaluated. For a brand built on empowerment and independence, the collapse felt catastrophic, a cautionary tale in real time. From royal exile to cultural exile, Meghan Markle has faced scrutiny before, But this time, the whistleblower wasn't tabloids or the monarchy. It was the friend who gave her everything and asked for nothing in return. He didn't shout. He didn't rage. He spoke the truth, quietly and surgically. And the fallout was deadly.